Hey guys, Uncommon Ramen here. I wanted to do a quick look at DC Deckbuilding Game New Gods, the crossover pack number 7, because I hadn't had an opportunity to do so earlier, and actually this one kind of snuck onto the radar for me. I have to admit that I've been a little bit lax in keeping up with some of the expansions for games, just simply because I've been caught up in other gaming things, I guess. So I did manage to find this and pick it up and everything. This isn't the most recent. I do believe that Crisis Pack number 4 just recently came out, and it is in fact more recent than this. But that will be for another time. I definitely am going to pick it up. But I did want to take a look at this. This is the New Gods. I know not a whole lot about this. There's some really interesting things. It looks like you can actually play as Darkside, which I thought was really interesting for those of you who are playing the Villains variant. So let's just dig right in. I don't think there is a really easy way of getting into this box, unless I'm mistaken, so I'm gonna just have to rip it. Ah, excellent. So they did address one thing that I had noticed immediately, which was there is no divider in the multiverse box for this, and they included one in it, which I wasn't sure if they were going to do or not. So kudos, DC, for, well, I guess Cryptozoic, for thinking about that ahead of time. So for those of you who want to pick this up and are not sure if a divider comes with it for the multiverse box, it does. So, cool. Also, it does look like it comes with some randomizers, also for the multiverse box. So that is pretty cool. Let's jump in and look at the heroes and villains that we'll be getting with this first. So this is the rules, basically how to incorporate it, although I believe if you have the multiverse box it makes it easier to incorporate. But it just gives you clarifications, new keywords, and so on and so forth, so you have a better idea of how this particular crossover pack works. So our first hero is Orion, and that's pretty good. He's a front runner of the New Gods, so that makes sense. Once during each of your turns, if you have 9+ power, draw 2 cards. That's a really powerful ability. So I think that's pretty cool, especially considering the power ramp in this game is kind of ridiculous. Mr. Miracle. So this one is each time you discard a card from your hand or deck, you may put it in on top of your deck. Holy cow. Still counts as having been discarded. That's pretty incredible. That could be really abusable. Big Barda. So, I was always under the impression that Big Barda was part of, what was it, Earth 2 or Earth 3? I didn't realize she was part of the New Gods. But either way. The third time you play a card, cost 5 or greater during your turn, double your current power. That's ridiculous. Now, I did read on the back that these guys were going to have some seriously ridiculous powers, assuming that you can get to their powers. Like in this case, playing 3 cards that are 5 or greater requires you to be pretty late game. In the case of like Orion, which is 9+ power, you're going to be pretty late game for that too. But like Mr. Miracle, each time you discard a card from your hand or deck, you may put it on top of your deck. That's going to be like a pretty much early mid-game strategy right there. So really cool, Big Barda. So yeah, there you go, Darkside. He is part of the supervillains, so when you're playing villains, you can now play him. Once during each of your turns, you may destroy a card with cost 1 or greater in your hand or discard pile. If you do, +2 power and draw a card. That is insane. So first off, you get the destruction. So let's get rid of those useless punches or vulnerabilities. But then on top of that, you know, as you're going through the game, especially in the villains side of things, getting rid of just useless things that aren't working for you anymore so that you have a more efficient late game. This is a really powerful card because then on top of that, you get the +2 power and you get to draw a card. So even if you brick a hand, he lets you draw a card and possibly unbrick it. That's really crazy good. Cool card. Granny Goodness. Now, Granny Goodness is a surprising one to me because I don't actually know a lot about the new gods. And Granny Goodness, I thought, was just a Batman villain, and at that, a really stupid one. So I am clearly wrong about that. She is part of the new gods, and in this, she looks kind of terrifying. So the second time you play a villain during your turn, draw 2 cards and then discard a card. The second time you play a hero during your turn, +3 power. That's just a solid good card. If you revolve your strategy around getting heroes and getting villains, that actually makes for a really well-rounded strategy, honestly. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. By that point in time, you should have another hero, +3 power. That's pretty solid. Then we have, last but not least, Kolobok. Or Kolobok, I don't know how you pronounce it. At the end of your turns, if you did not play a starter card, or any starter cards, draw 2 additional cards into your new hand. That's incredible. So, assuming you don't play starter cards, so this is going to be a mid-game strategy again. You will draw a hand of 7 next turn as opposed to 5. That's a make or breaker. That almost always guarantees some massive power the next turn. I think that's pretty cool. So, Kolobok. That will rely on you taking time to destroy your starter cards as soon as possible, but, I mean, who doesn't want to do that? That's just a viable strategy in general. So, those are our big hero / villain cards. I want to take a look at these randomizers because I'm pretty sure there should be more randomizers, but oh no, I know what it is. It's the randomizer for this set. Yeah, okay. So we got the randomizer for the new gods, and then this roulette must be a reprint. +1 power, rotate a card you control 90 degrees clockwise. So this must be a balance for an old card. This came with, I believe, Birds of Prey, and they'd only include this here if they meant for it to replace the Birds of Prey card. So something about the Birds of Prey card was either a misprint or just plain wrong. Or they didn't include enough copies, maybe? Not really sure. Not 100% sure. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to go further on that. If I pull out the multiverse box, I'm pretty sure I can find out that this is just probably a reprint. But I will definitely look into it. Just let me know. We're going to move then into the cards that are included with these crossover packs. So these cards are going to be very, very specific to the new gods. So, first things first, with all shrink wrap, I must find the way to get inside. So I know I've already mentioned like a million times I hate shrink wrap, and this is the reason why. These tabs never freaking work. Okay. Cool. So we got New Genesis. Now, it says in this that it is a home world. Level 1 home world. Stack ongoing. The first time you play a hero during each of your turns, draw a card. Retaliation. Each supervillain gains 2 weakness cards. That's insane. But why? Okay. I see. New Genesis level 2. New Genesis level 3. So is this similar to the Confrontations? Apocalypse, Apocalypse, Apocalypse. I feel like that's very similar to that of Confrontations. Without playing it and actually having not read the big card, I'm not 100% sure, but I'll check it out later. So we have He-Man, the Forever People, Mr. Miracle, Tachyon, Big Barda, Metron, Orion, Highfather, Darkside, Kanto, Female Furies, Steppenwolf, Granny Goodness, Mantis, Kolobok, Darkside, Mobius Chair, Astro Harness. Always wondered what that was. Beta Club, Aerodiscs, Mother Box, Boom Tube, Anti-Life Equation, Omega Beams, Escape Artist, and Die for Darkside. So those cards are going to get with it. So I'm not, like, you look at the new gods and you can definitely see that they're really powerful heroes. And if you compare them to some of the crossover packs that have been released in the past, like, for instance, was it the Society, the Justice Society, or I wish I could remember what their name was. Point is, the big hero cards that came in that were relatively underwhelming. I even found them to be less effective than, say, Batgirl, who arguably was one of the worst heroes in Heroes Unite. And so when they had those heroes, I was kind of, I looked at things like Batgirl and thought, wow, that's actually somewhat useful. Understanding that with the multiverse box, there's like a formula they use to make some really cool crossovers. It still makes for an interesting game, but this game is gonna almost feel like, well, it is. They reward you for ramp, and they reward you for some serious power creep. But I mean, why not? This one of the best things that I enjoy about this game is being able to throw down the big numbers. So it's that is a pretty cool aspect. And more importantly, you're not guaranteed that you're going to get the new gods. It's just an interesting crossover pack to put in there. And so just in general, this looks really cool. Definitely can't wait to play it. New Genesis Project or Projector or Protector. Sorry. I wonder what that means. Almost feel like it's gonna play like Confrontations. And I know I haven't put a video up for Confrontations. I actually don't own Confrontations. The only thing I own is the Joker versus Batman Confrontation. The reason being that it's not really high on my list to pick up. I wasn't a huge fan of that format of this game. Although I do intend on picking it up in the future. Just not as a priority. And this almost feels like it plays similar to a Confrontation with some slightly different rules. But anyway, that's enough of my conjecture. This is DC crossover pack number 7, the new gods, and what you will be getting should you pick it up. I'm a huge fan of the fact that they did include a divider for it, because I was truly and honestly worried that they wouldn't. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, concerns, maybe I forgot something. I always love reading your comments, and yeah, if you like the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I always enjoy new subscriptions, and the closer I get to 1,000 subscribers, the closer I get to an actual channel URL. So, thank you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!